actually save us, so maybe I should actually do what I'm supposed to do.
Maybe God wants me to save myself. He's giving me all this stuff to save myself.
What were you talking about,
Let's
Alex?
do it.
I was going to mention Revelation 6:8.
What
you got?
What are we doing?
What do you got?
Revelation 6:8 predicted COVID-19, which forecast deaths all over the globe by sword, famine, and plague.
Plague.
Just
Yeah, I've been seeing those too about how like Nostradamus predicted this, and then someone in the comments was like, "That's a lie."
yeah,
Like,
the two they came out with recently are hoaxes. They're not.
yeah, how Nostradamus predicted a queen COVID.
Yeah.
Would go to the east or the west, Asia. Anyways,
It's fake.
Yeah, a lot of stuff right now is fake. A lot of
it-
stuff right now is fake.
Yeah.
Just the clickbait is real right
And
now.
I'm getting tired of the Karens telling me how to fucking live when I'm already doing my best, when I'm living my best life in my house playing Call of Duty 6, who I was happily introduced to by Thomas and Alex, and I'm
everybody here.
quite addicted to it now. But I'm pretty happy. The stomach ulcer fucking almost killed me, literally. Like, no, okay, I didn't almost die, but
You better?
I was super, super nauseous, laying in bed all day. I've been doing it for the past week. And what happened is that the antacid pills I was taking was 2 years out of date, and they weren't working. So I finally got new pills, and they finally started doing their jobs, and I'm feeling great. So
Good.
This past week was a total waste of a week, but I'm glad I'm glad I was out of work to lay in bed. But I'm just kind of tired of the Karens telling me how to live my life in this end of times, because they're not the ones that are gonna. You know what? If it was the end of times, I'm gonna reign supreme because I'm a fabricator, a welder, a mechanic. I have lots of guns and ammo. I have an abundant supply of food, and I'll kill some Karens.
And now everyone knows where to go.
No, they don't. They don't have my address.
Fair enough.
I think I'll be highly sought after. Mm-hmm. Being a mechanic and all these other things, I think I'll be valuable.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt, who?
You're the guy that, like...
Gorlami.
You're the guy,
baby.
You're the guy that, like, the big
Ribbidici.
dog comes to, like, enslave. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
I would become a slave.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
you're going to work on my cars now.
Like Negan's gonna come take your shit.
No, he's not
yeah.
going to come take it. He's going to take him.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think because if Negan got me, I'd have a high up position within
Yeah.
Negan's
Yeah.
personal army.
I'd be better off.
Be a
Like, you'd
tool.
be safe. You'd be protected.
I wouldn't just be a henchman.
You wouldn't have a wife anymore, but
You'd be an asset.
That would be my bargaining
Yeah.
thing. Okay, like that would be my bargaining thing. I'll work at 100% efficiency if I get to bring my wife and dogs.
Well, he takes your wife into his heart.
Then I won't work.
He'll just kill you and take your wife. Anyway.
That's fine. Kill me. I'm
You won't
sought
be
after.
killed. Your face will be iron.
Burned.
I'll take it. It's the end of time.
You'll turn into Iron Man.
My name's Dwight. I'm a dread nigga.
Let's talk about some space.
Yeah.
Space.
So this episode, we're going to kind of really specifically talk about space-related topics. I'm going to talk about some Soviet stuff. Alex has some serious / funny talking points.
Yeah.
Thomas has more of a funny talking point, and I think Chris is going to respond and react to
Shoot
all
from
of
the
it.
hip, baby.
Yeah.
I like that. I can't. Blah blah blah.
So I kind of was interested in figuring out how the Soviets and the Americans did their thing back in the 60s to currently where we are now. Alex was right on a prior episode and he said the Soviets won the space race. You said that. Maybe we didn't say it on air, but we had talked about that. You said the Soviets definitely won the space race, and I was like, how? But
We agreed.
Yeah, we agreed. Yeah. It's a mutual decision of the group.
so
Anyway.
I just wanted to figure it out. And they did. They did win the space race, but at a cost. Lots of costs to human life. But we finally caught up, and they were actually the ones who first successfully put a human into orbit and brought him back. And then they beat us by, like, I think it was like 6 months before we were able to catch up to them, because we had planned to go up, and then it got pushed back, and it got pushed back and back and back and back for like weather and equipment malfunctions and all this stuff, and we finally was able to get up there and get on their same level, and then we got on the same page, and we teamed up with them, and now we have a joint space program with the Russians, and it's quite interesting. If you guys didn't, I'm sure you know about.
Yeah, we
joint.
are Russia's little bitches.
That's
right
why
now.
Kennedy was killed.
Yeah, we definitely are Russia's bitches.
We can't go to space without Russia.
Right. Yeah. They all the astronauts that we supply to the program, every one of them launch like to the International Space Station, actually launch from Russia.
Yeah, our space hopes died with the Columbia.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you look at the amount of failures the
Yeah.
space shuttle program had, like percentage wise,
was risky.
it's ridiculous.
They
It's
have-
essentially an airplane you're sending to space.
They have quite a
Yeah.
bit too. They have quite a bit of failures as well. But they obviously now they're minimized. We haven't sent up a space shuttle in quite some time. We're long overdue. But
Not with people anyway. We've sent up like satellites.
we
and other
sent up
stuff.
rockets,
Yeah.
but not a shuttle in quite
They're
some
going to send
time.
that Israeli woman, right?
I
Which
don't know.
one?
The one we talked about last week was a woman in
Oh, yeah. They're working on the Irish lady.
Irish lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's probably going to die.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit of information. The Soviets.
Israeli.
Let's see here. So we both
Something like Gal Gadot, so like Israeli.
Gadot.
Gadot.
Gurlami.
Gorlami. So basically, the Soviets and the U.S. got German rocket scientists after World War II.
Operation Paperclip.
And so that's basically how both started to leapfrog each other, was having scientists who were experts in this field from Germany. So let's see, the Soviets launched the world's first satellite called the Sputnik
Sputnik.
in 1957. And the Sputnik was just this little ball with 4 little,
Probes.
rods that came off of it, and it beeped. It just sent back a beep. It went around the moon and went around the Earth.
That's a big deal, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was successful.
Big dildo.
Deal though.
It's a big dildo. So the Americans scrambled to catch up, and the Soviets accomplished many world firsts. Among them were the first man, and his name was Yuri. The first woman was Valentina. And then first lunar flyby, the Luna 1, and the first 3-person crew, which was called the Voskhod 1. The Soviets, however, also had their share of disasters. So you had some missiles detonated, and that one I'm going to talk about. It killed 150 people on the ground.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
And this was in 1960, and this missile was considered to be very safe. Very, very safe, because they look at it statistic-wise, like when they first launched one to when they last launched one, and all the launches in between, and you can look at the failure rate, and this missile was considered to be super, super reliable. And what ended up happening on this one was it leaked fuel on the launching pad. The motors prematurely ignited while all these workers were around it. We'll get into it. I'm not going to really delve into that into detail right this second. Soyuz 1 and Soyuz 11 were also huge failures, and they ended up in disaster. And I'm going to also keep throwing out this name. I cannot pronounce it because it's
Try your best.
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
It's I'm going to spell it Baikonur. Baikonur. Anyways, that's where most of these things.
Give him a name.
It's in B-Town.
B-Town.
The B-Town. It's in Kazakhstan. So that's where Russia
Baikonur.
always launched their rockets from. They still, to this day, do from Kazakhstan. But there's been some issues with Kazakhstan when they went independent.
Yeah.
So it's not really a Russian territory anymore, but it is a huge, huge facility over there where they launch rockets from. So they actually declared the independency in 2018. So
Good for them.
anyways, we're going to delve into the Soyuz 1, the Soyuz 11. So between those two, it killed 4 astronauts, and then another one was an N-1 rocket explosion that detonated on the launch pad in 1969. Another one that detonated on the launch pad. So they've got 2 that detonated on the launch pad. And then no fatality from that one, but it damaged the launching facility, and it derailed the Soviets' plans to send astronauts to the moon. That's when they started focusing on actually doing space stations.
Mm-hmm. I think going to the moon was like the long play.
That was that football Hail Mary, baby.
Yeah, like the
who can do it
watch
first?
The Russians have been smart. They're like, we'll say we're going to the moon. We'll make them spend all their resources going to the moon.
Yeah.
And we'll steal it from them.
And then we'll make them actually join up with us when we're years and years ahead of them with a space station.
Have you seen the Russian space shuttle? It's the same as ours. They just stole it.
I believe it.
It's called
it's the same thing.
It's called the Buran or Buran.
Exactly the same.
Well, I mean, like airplane
copy-pasted.
technology, airplane technology, you got to have wings, you got to have things to steer it, you got to have a thing that makes it go this way, and then you got to have all this cargo space for stuff.
I think at that point they had stole the Concorde already, the British Concorde. You guys know that
jet.
Yeah.
And it was terrible.
Is that the one that the Concorde doesn't really do? It doesn't really fly
Concorde,
anymore, right?
No, because it broke the sound barrier.
Yeah.
And people complained about it. Like, you can't have sound barrier breaking planes landing in civilized areas.
Well, they wouldn't be breaking the sound barrier while it's landing.
Well, when they take off.
But
Start fucking forward flipping.
so then they had a really bad Concorde crash that derailed the whole Concorde system, right?
I think people just hated it. It was
Hated it.
They got
You
tired of
could
people
get across the country
wasn't-
in no time.
It wasn't cost efficient.
It was too confusing. Some people call it Concord, some call it Concord. Let's just scratch it.
Like, I'm calling it Concorde because
Let's do the Concord. It's like, what?
it's probably Concord, but whatever.
Get on
It's
the
just like-
Concorde.
Scrap it.
Actually, you know what? It's probably Concorde.
It should be with the E at the end, right?
Yeah.
So
E makes
Get on the
long
Concorde, but go there.
O, like the long O's.
Concorde.
But back on your...
all right, so after we had talked about that 1969 incident when the Soviets they stopped actually focusing on going to the moon, and that's when they started to focus on space station technology, and then they began the U.S.-Russian space collaboration that began in 1975. So, and then you had the Soviet Union break apart in 1991, which really affected
Reagan.
their funding for their space program. But then a year later, this program called the Roscosmos was formed to coordinate space activities for Russia. And the United States was concerned that the fall of the Soviet Union might cause economic havoc in the area of the world. So NASA offered paid astronaut flights to the Mir space station, with its astronauts receiving technical and language training in Russia before flights. So there's a huge number. This is a huge number what it costs to send an astronaut to space. This is what we basically pay Russia. So as of early as 2018, all astronauts leaving for the ISS leave from the Baikonur in Kazakhstan. And then Russia leases this facility since Kazakhstan declared independence. So NASA currently buys seats on Russian spacecraft for its astronauts, a practice that was projected to climb to $82 million per person by 2018.
Wow.
So it's even higher now.
No, that's not that much.
So, in 2011, Russia started construction on another launch site, Vostochny, which is in Siberia and close to the Chinese border. 3 satellites were successfully launched in 2016, but after Vostochny's second launch in late 2017, a $45 million satellite was lost, pretty much ending vasectomy, which they really, really like their track record over in Baikonur. So they really rely on the Kazakhstans for getting them into space successfully.
So the little satellite thing happened, so vasectomy got cut off.
Vasectomy cut off. So I'm going to delve into like 4 tragedies really quickly. We're going to talk about the Soyuz, which happened in 1967. So despite the fact that Soyuz 1 was still an untested project, the rocket launch went ahead. On board was an experienced cosmonaut, 37-year-old Vladimir Komarov, When Soyuz reached its orbit, however, problems started. The launch of Soyuz 2 was scrubbed and Soyuz 1 had to return to Earth. The navigation system broke down and Komarov had to steer the craft manually. He managed to start the descent on the correct trajectory,